Yeah, don't even share the screen.
He's on.
Yeah. Not sure what it is.
They're muted. Your lights appeared. No, Fisher. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Deb.
Morning.
Oh, she's muted.
I don't know if you want to wait a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Because it's about just a minute or two after 9.
11.
I mean, after 11.
Yeah.
So we could wait till 5 after.
Yeah, give it a couple more minutes. Jerry Ann's on.
Oh, good.
Good.
Mhm. Hi, Jerry Ann.
Hi, Jerry Ann. She's muted.
Hi.
Good
Trying.
morning.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah,
we can
fine.
hear you.
Okay. It wouldn't let me unmute.
Oh, dear.
Oh, gee whiz.
It was just weird. It was
Must
just a
be the
little.
weather today.
Oh. I don't know how it was in Whiting, but it was really cold this
It was
morning.
really
Cold.
cold.
Yeah,
It was in the
it was
upper 20s
20s
last
and
night.
30s.
Oh wow,
and
you were
it's,
then. You were. I think you guys were colder than me because we had a frost warning
Yeah.
We did too.
the night before last and last night. But when I got up, it was 38, and in less than 10 minutes, it was 42. It was
Wow.
like,
Wow.
yeah, the sun. We have a beautiful sunny day today.
Yeah, we do too. It's close to 50 now, which is a
Yeah,
little bit more
a little better.
tolerable.
A little
Oh.
bit better.
Right now, my little weather widget is saying it's 48.
Yep. Yeah. I went to
Pretty
Stop
cool.
and Shop, to the grocery shop. I met my sister and Gina at the Stop and Shop, and I went shopping for Dolores, dropped that off. So
How is Dolores?
not good. She
No.
doesn't see well. She doesn't hear well. She's full of arthritis. She's basically in a wheelchair all the time. So,
Yes,
but
too
she's
bad.
got a wonderful attitude.
Yeah.
But she called me in a panic yesterday because her hearing aid, first of all, she couldn't find her hearing aid. Then something was wrong with it. A couple years ago, well, before you came to St. Stephen's, we had a different deacon. He has since died. And I used to be his caregiver volunteer. So I used to take care of him and his wife. They were at Crestwood Manor. They had hearing aids, and I
Yeah.
was constantly bringing them back to the hearing aid store. And so I asked the man one day, why am I bringing these back so often? And he said, well, they don't clean the wax out every morning. So I said to Dolores, did you clean the wax out of your, and I dead silence. I said to her, well, the gadget they use looked like a paper clip and you stretch it out like a straight line. And I said, oh, and I said, it does work. So I said, do you have something like that? She said, well, I'll look around. And so they were only open in Whiting on Thursdays. So by the time she called me, it's now 3:00 in the afternoon. So I called up the hearing aid place, and the lady said to me that she was from one of their other stores and that she would, help me out. And I explained the story. So she said, if you could come right away. I said, well, I have to go pick up her hearing aid. I'll be there as soon as I'm able. She calls me back. She said, sorry about that. There was an emergency. They had to leave immediately because evidently they have an intern learning how to sell hearing aids or whatever. And his wife was expecting a baby and it was due. So they had to leave like now. So
They don't wait.
I did meet
Babies don't wait.
Dolores. Yeah, I met Dolores because she was waiting. I couldn't get her on the phone and she can't hear the phone anyway. So I picked up her hearing aids. I said, can't do it till next Thursday. I'm first thing in the morning next Thursday. So I guess she'll have to survive till Thursday. I don't know.
Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best, like a paper clip.
I know.
Yeah.
I have a bent paper clip that I keep next to the router for my internet service because it fits perfectly when I have to reboot the router.
Right.
I just hit the reset button.
I always think it's amazing over all the years when I was teaching that, there's all kinds of simple things around: toothpicks, straws, paper clips, elastic bands, all these things that work. And they make you buy all these expensive gadgets that cost a lot, and you have to wait till they can ship it, and the little dumb things work. I
had trouble opening a jar. I have one finger on my right hand that just is pretty much non-functional. And so I had trouble opening the jar, and I could not find my jar grip. But I found a rubber band in the drawer and I wrapped that around and it worked.
Right. Sometimes what also works is hot water. And if you bang the lid on the side of the counter or the desk, because sometimes it's got, it gets gooky in there. Somehow, or it gets jostled. And then all of a sudden it unjostles it and you can open it,
Usually I find, but when my grip is gone, sometimes I have days where even opening a water bottle hurts.
I can imagine.
Because my grip is just not, there.
Sure.
It's just not there.
We'll tell Debbie to unmute.
Deb, you got to unmute. Deb,
Debbie,
unmute yourself.
You're muted.
We're going to get started.
We don't know where everybody else is.
Yeah, anybody else come on, they'll come on more meeting. So I'm only in the interest of time, because I know Jerry Ann, you said you have to leave in about an hour.
I have a call scheduled. Actually, I thought it was at noon. It's actually at 12:15. So I have a little bit more time.
We'll make that.
We'll be fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, the agenda for today's meeting was included in an email I sent out the other day, and it starts with the new newsletter we're going to create. So we're looking for ideas and what we could do to put into this newsletter. And one of the things we came up with was life at St. Stephen's. What's happening at church before, during, and after COVID-19. These are just ideas. I mean, if you guys got other ideas you want to add to this or change, or whatever you want to do.
What would be the frequency of this newsletter?
Well, it's only a one-time thing. We're sending them out for the stewardship. I was on for 4 weeks on a program through the diocese, and I learned a lot of things, and I shared some of them with the vestry. I tried to be concise because it was a lot to share, and they said that you want to make it exciting and positive because some people haven't come back yet, and they haven't also gotten back in their pledge routine, and so you want to let them know that we're alive and well at St. Stephen's. And I was talking to Susan Clark yesterday at the healing service, and I said, the Holy Spirit is alive and well at St. Stephen's. That's important for people to know. And we have gone, the Boy Scouts are back, the AA groups are back, thyroid support groups back.
Yeah.
We have the Garden Club is back, and we've been doing, there's something else that's back. I don't remember what the other one was. But we're our OSL is back.
OSL.
So we have all these things back in a normal, and people have said thank you. And the events we ran, we already did the fair, we did the dollar auction, and we're a crop walk, and we're getting ready to get for the concert with the Pineland Symphonic Band. They're back too. Crestwood Chorus is in our place, and we all along too, we've been doing the food routine, whether we delivered it or people come, and that's important to know. Those numbers did increase in the COVID time, and we're selling clothes too. I mean, Susan's done a magnificent job organizing that whole section. People keep coming and buying, so I mean, I think all of the above, we should allude to or mention. I don't know if you have any other ideas that we should add
Is
to
there anything
that.
else we should add into this?
I just had a thought when you talked about this Holy Spirit being, alive and well,
Yeah,
and making that would be an ideal headline, I think.
right.
But follow it and say, we're just missing you.
Yes, very.
Just
I like
missing you.
that.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I just have a few things.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
First of all, I think the newsletter, it's a good idea, but my one question is, a lot of what you're talking about is already existing in the newsletter we get, the chimes, about, like the
Right.
last one I just got, last few that I've read, about,
Oh, we lost you, Deb. Can't
Lost
hear you.
We lost you.
Lost connection.
Your connection's lost.
She's unmuted, we can't hear her.
We can't hear you, Deb. We cannot
We've
hear
lost
you.
We've
Can you hear
lost
me?
you.
okay, let me go to the other, hold on, let me move to the other room.
Okay.
That might be a better connection.
All right.
Just had a few questions.
Hmm.
Enjoy the trip.
We're getting a tour of your house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So cleaning. So right now my computer room is filled with chairs because I moved the chairs out of the dining room.
We've all done that one where we moved our stuff around. You don't want to see what's behind me.
Anyway, like right now, the chimes already
Mhm.
putting things like that in the monthly newsletter. And
Right.
too, in the bulletin we get, we go into church, or
Right.
in the back will say events.
Right.
So how is that going to be different from from what's being communicated to us now?
Right. Well, not
Okay.
everybody comes to church physically, so they're not seeing the bulletin. And
That's true.
sadly, not everybody reads. The chimes, is a multitude of things. This is zeroing in specifically on stewardship because we want to get people geared up. So when we have Consecration Sunday on November 21st, they're ready to come in and fill out that pledge card and say, I want to share my time, my talent, my energy, and my money for St. Stephen's. I want these programs to continue. I want to be part of the action here. So we're trying to drum up that enthusiasm with this newsletter. Last year, if you remember, we did something like this, but because of COVID, we had different guidelines and rules, what we had to do. And it was, a challenge to get that accomplished. So this year it's a little different because we're in a better place. We've been open for over a year and, lots of things are happening, and we've added the chorus and, symphonic band, and we've got a lot of, other people showing up. We had a Bible, that women's Bible study. Debbie was at it the other day. I was telling Father Paul, it was interesting to me that so many of the women said they had tried other churches, but none of them appealed to them. When they showed up in St. Stephen's, they knew this was the place they belonged. So the thing is, I think we have to get to the people that are not physically coming to the building to make them realize that what they're missing, all these, whether they go to any or all of those things is immaterial, but they're missing, God, they're missing, and the socialization and the interaction with their friends at church. I can't tell you, when I bring communion to shut-ins, I get so many people that say to me, how's so-and-so? What's going on with this person? Are they well? And everything, because they don't see each other anymore. They don't see them on Zoom or YouTube when they're on the program, the services. And when they get in person, I have people all the time asking, what's going on with this? What's happening with that? And Father Paul gets emails all the time and calls from people. The other day he had a couple of them. We even had a new couple that they've been here for 9 years, mind you, but in Leisure Village West, and they never knew about the healing service. I decided to write a different kind of an article that I've been putting in the Sun and the Manchester Times that says, current events going on at St. Stephen's, and I list them in chronological order. We have had so many people call the church office and say, oh, when is that? Can I come to that? And everything. They wanted to come. They didn't make it this week, but maybe when Father Paul went to a funeral, so he did tell them that he wouldn't be there. So they'll probably come next week.
Yeah.
So, you know, I understand what you're saying, but all
I,
that's
yeah,
I just want to make sure I understand, because there
Yeah.
is the same type of information being socialized with the chimes.
somewhat. Right.
yeah, I understand your concern. But I like the idea of this, a one-time newsletter and maybe a news flash instead of a
Yes.
newsletter. So a news flash that is just specific to stewardship.
Right.
Because I know when the chimes comes in my mail, I don't always look at it right away.
Right.
I
Right.
kind of, it's kind of been there, done that. I've seen
Right.
this before. So if you're going to you're going to mail this?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
mail it
going to
out.
be mailed. It's basically one long page, the large page,
Okay.
folded in half again. And I already talked to Greg about it, because the outside would have the address information on the one part, the folded. And
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe we should put.
You
Yes,
have to find out if you have to put the permit mail stamp
we
on it.
do. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
He's all set with that.
Because if you get a single sheet like that, I think people might be more inclined to read that than to
Right.
put the chapel chimes aside to read later
Right.
when they had more time.
That-
Getting
Yeah.
a single sheet just might
Right.
just spark a little bit more interest.
Right.
Like immediate interest. Say, okay,
Right.
this is just one page. What is this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the thing is,
Yeah.
then it isn't a lot to read either. And
No,
what we want to
newsflash,
do
that's
is
pretty
maybe
good.
put the mission statement of the church in there somewhere, because that already says a lot too.
Mission
And
statement
then
of the church.
we're going to try to find some quote from the Bible. I don't know if
Bible,
any of
yeah.
you have an inspirational or Bible thought that, when Esther talked last week, she was one of
She
our
alluded to the
stewardship
Bible.
speakers. She talked about Malachi, and I want to go back and look at part of what she said, because there was like a little morsel in there that sparked kind of something with stewardship, So I know last year that was a different story. I could not find, we were in a different world with the COVID. So
Yeah.
I quoted that it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It wasn't from the Bible, but Father Paul liked it. It was actually,
Yeah,
I
he
think,
did.
from one of the Dickens novels or something, but it did, but that's a different story. This year, I mean, we want, like you said, the Holy Spirit is alive and well, kind of
Mhm.
thing. I think we should hit on the positive that way,
Yeah.
So you have any other
Any
Bible
other
thoughts?
ideas on that?
Another thought, like,
Yeah, Deb.
You have to get closer to your mic, Deb, because you're drifting
We
out
can't hear you.
again. Can't hear you.
In here.
Get closer to your mic. Your mic is dead. Can't hear you.
See her,
Okay.
but you can't hear.
when up there saying, well, this event is coming up and that event is coming up, when you go, you know what I mean? When you go up at the end of the service and you let
Right.
everyone
Yeah.
what's going on, if you can incorporate even like every week or once or twice a month on Sunday, put something at the end of the church service.
Right, that's true.
That's
You're
true.
right, but that you still wouldn't be reaching the people that aren't making it to church.
Right.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying do this in lieu of this newsletter you want to do.
No,
It's
we
just
want to
by
do
all
this.
means, I don't want to do overkill either, because people may get sick of hearing it.
No, but
No,
the
that's
thing
true.
is,
You're right.
we don't have people, I'm not lying to you when I tell you, when I do those announcements at the end, I can't tell you how many people who come along, they either call the church or they'll say at coffee hour, gee, it's a shame that nobody said anything about, well, excuse me, I said that, and
Yeah.
we've
I
had,
actually have a pen in my handbag, and
Yeah.
when they're talking, I write it down on the
Yeah.
bulletin. I might
Yeah.
want to know that. So I write it down.
and I've been.
Yeah, I
with
think it would
Ed.
be a good idea to have once a month or twice a month to
Right,
have a printed upcoming
right. We
events.
do. We have it
available.
on the counter in the narthex, and I've been working with
Yeah.
Greg. When you open up your bulletin near one of the last pages, if you take that home with you, it
Yeah.
has all the current stuff going on. But some people are not readers, Some people
Right.
have to hear
They
it.
have to hear it.
I, as a, former teacher, you have to go every different way because some people have to hear it 5 times and then all of a sudden it's, oh, wow, so I try to hit all the buttons and try to do it. Even Father Paul turns around, he goes, oh my gosh, is that this week? And
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
in
no,
the midst of it and he doesn't even remember all the time. But
Do we have a spot in the Chapel Chimes to add a schedule for upcoming events?
yes, it's in
Yeah, it
there.
should be there.
And the
right.
calendar's in there too.
Yeah, I have to, because I don't recall seeing it or even, because I don't look at it that closely because I was there so much.
Yeah.
Now I'm not there so much, so I
Right.
start to look at things a little bit more closely because I'm not there all the time.
Yeah.
Greg is amazing because
Yeah, Greg does a good job.
he's like continuously putting things together. And then whenever I stop in the office, he'll say, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And, this is the first newsletter in over a year of the Chimes that we were able actually to get out in a timely manner. And it's
Yeah.
what we are supposed to do with it, that it's the present, the future, and the really future. And we figure by January, we'll finally be on track with all of that. But, we're trying to bombard people in every way we can. We have to keep it up in our, I don't know how many people actually go to our website, but even when I'm on Compline at night, I always remind people, if tomorrow's whatever it is, I bring it up. And I never know who's on there and who's listening, but I figure, well, throw it out there, So we want to put in the Consecration Sunday. That's important.
Yeah, it was a huge thing that happened the last week or so. We heard from the diocese, and Steve Welch is going to be our speaker. He comes from the diocese. He's I believe, the communications director for the diocese. And we were trying to get a person from Project Resource, and then they came up with him. And I know of him. I actually met him a couple of times. I went to Trenton for a few activities that they had at the diocese, and I believe he's just, like I say, he comes straight from the diocese. I'm not sure if he's on Project Resource, but he is.
I think so.
Is he really?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think he's their
But
tech contact too. He does a lot of their tech stuff.
He does all that,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I know him from emailing. I've never met him in person, and
Yeah.
I'm sure he knows my name because I was on that for that 4 weeks. Every week they would do a little talk, and then near the end we'd break out into small groups like this that were 4 or 5 people. And what we would do is they would say, okay, this year it was wonderful. They wanted to actually be helpful one-to-one. What could they do for you? And so when we started talking, they would say, okay, do you have a stewardship chair? I would always say no. At the time we didn't. Then they'd ask, well, do you have a committee? I said, well, we're working on that. And then Father Paul was away. So, they kept asking every week.
Yeah.
And several people got that Project Resource person way early. And I said to Father Paul, we really need a stewardship chair that functions all 12 months, not just, Bill has done an outstanding job. We reached back to, he was a past chair, and not that the people that did it in between or before or after weren't terrific, but we needed somebody to jump in immediately. In 1 month, Bill got the whole thing together and the show on the road here, but we're behind. So every couple of days, I get a message on my computer from Project Resource saying, how are we doing? What's happening? I gave them Bill's information. And then they said, did we still need a Project Resource speaker? I keep saying yes.
Yeah.
And so the one minister, actually 3 or 4 of them, they're regular ministers like Father Paul. They can't go out on a Sunday. They've got their own congregation. So
Right.
they just kept going and going. And then all of a sudden, then we got this information, which is terrific. So we've got the basic idea what we want to put in, and we're appreciative that, Jerry Ann's going to help us with, we figured we'd put that like a little bar graph, whatever you give us on Sunday or whatever, to show the amount of people that pledged 19, 20, 21, and then like a total amount of money pledged 19, 20, 21, because people can see it. Last year, Debbie knows what I'm talking about, and so do you, Jerry, and that was a pain in the neck. That stupid chart
that
I
was
had to
awful.
do.
That
It
was
horrid.
absolutely
And
awful.
poor Colleen couldn't help me with it. It was a disaster. What Father Paul wanted us to do was put how many people pledged at $100 or 50 or whatever. Nobody really cares about that. You've got what you've
No.
got. If you can only pledge $1 a week, well, that's terrific. And the thing is, if you see the total, and if it's a bar graph, you can see right away, like, oh my gosh, look at the numbers. They dropped, boom, and everything. And,
So-
anything you want to suggest to add, a sentence or two about our needs and how far off we are of financial, because I know God is good and he always provides, but, we've been, hanging on by and moving along here. So,
I need to know something though, because I
Yes,
have a
okay.
very limited amount of time.
yes.
Yeah.
I can pull the numbers of people pledged, but I need to know, do you want to see it by dollar value or just number of people pledged and what the total amount pledged was?
Right, that's it.
Because we get
One
pledges in
number-
3 forms. We get pledge for operating or offertory. We
right,
get a
no,
pledge
total,
for maintenance and a pledge for capital.
right.
So
Yeah.
do you
Total-
want each of those broken down?
No, to the total amount pledged for
The
each
total
of
amount.
those years and the total number of people that pledged for the 3 years. Because I think pre-COVID, we had
fundamental
more
one.
people and more money. That's
Oh,
my feeling.
absolutely. I know at one year we had 84 and then last year we had 56 or something like
Right,
that.
see, then the
Because of
people could
COVID.
see it. And by
Yeah.
making it a bar graph, even if you don't understand numbers, some people don't, you can see
can
that when
see
we'll color in a bar. So you
Bar.
say, oh my gosh, look at that.
Yeah.
That would be fabulous if
Yeah,
you
it'd be
could give
great.
us that. And any other, sentence or comment that you want to add to it, we'd be grateful to add that to it. I'm
Sure.
going to meet with, Bill and I are going to meet with Greg on Monday and Tuesday
Yeah.
to kind of, he's already realizing what we have in mind. He's got the address labels ready and he knows what we want. So we've got the basic ideas here for what
Yeah.
we want to put in that newsletter. And we want to help, the committee wants
We
to
want to
help
help you guys.
you, Jerry Ann
with,
and Jerry, with
Pledge cards, envelopes, and a letter.
anything you need
Whatever
help
you
with,
guys need.
pledge cards,
we wanna be there
envelopes,
to-
stuffing, whatever.
Are you, I have a very limited amount, I'm going to be there on Sunday, but then I won't be there for at least, I won't be there again until after Thanksgiving. So I'm going to go in on Sunday. Are you okay with using the format of the pledge card we used 2 years ago?
Yes,
Just the
that's
card
fine.
Sure.
and then the operating, the maintenance, and the
Right.
capital, and
Yes.
then the time and talents
Yes.
on the
Yeah.
other,
We
on
need
the
that
other side.
We need
Okay,
it
I'll
for
put one of
November.
those together and
Right.
I'll see if I can work something out to have Greg print them
Yeah.
Yeah.
and use the paper cutter to separate them.
Right. We
So
don't,
how many do you want?
probably
do you
over
think?
100, because we've
Oh,
been at about well, the 8 o'clock service, we're averaging between 25 and 30 people.
Maybe 30.
And 10 o'clock, we're averaging between 40
40
and
and
60.
60.
So I would say 125 of those cards. And I know there's people sitting in those pews, because I'm here a long time. They do not pledge, but we have to
No.
give a card to everybody, and whether they just scribble their name on it and say, no, I put
Sure.
money in the.
Hey,
in the
I've had people give me a pledge card, mark something in pencil and there's no name on it.
Yes, I know
Right.
that one. Well,
So-
we're going to give very clear directions about at least your name and if your address and your phone number and your email, because we got to know all that stuff. The thing is, we've been trying to update that directory. Susan Quigley did a great job, and
Yeah, she did good.
we need to add we have so many new people. They're really involved and excited about it, and they want to be, in on that. But after the 21st, then I know last year you had that letter that you had in your computer. That was wonderful. And the treasurer's office does the financial aspect, but the
Thank you,
committee,
letter.
at another time, we need to create a thank you letter to go to everybody. We don't need to know the dollar amount. We just
We
want to
have
say
one.
thank
We
you.
have a confirmation letter.
Good.
We had 2 letters that we sent. Once
Yes,
when
Okay.
we got a pledge from someone, we sent them an acknowledgement letter, thanking
Right.
from their pledge and giving them the breakdown of the pledge that we received.
yes.
And
is
that
true.
way, if there was a mistake, they could reach out to us
Yes,
and we could fix
yes.
it. And
Yeah.
then we had another letter that we would
Right.
send out when we didn't hear from somebody. So we
Okay.
had a reminder letter that went out, and that's all done in a template. And
Right.
Yeah.
If you alter the template, we're going to be dead in the water because otherwise I
No,
don't
no,
know.
we're not altering
No,
it. No,
no,
no.
no.
Because
Just the
it's a
date.
mail merge and it's a little
Yeah.
complicated.
Yeah.
So
You
I
just
have
want-
step by step, and if I
Right.
have to deviate, it's not going to work.
The
I
date
understand.
needs to change on it because of course it's 21. So
Yeah.
that would be the only
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
that was
absolutely. There'll be a
changed.
couple of things I have to change the file name that it goes to, because,
Yeah.
and we're going to use the same pattern. So everything is exactly so that it works in sequence. I just texted Jerry to see if she was going to join us today, and she said she can't. She's at the doctor, but she's going to be putting the statements, the third quarter statements out for Sunday. She expects to have
Okay.
those out for Sunday.
Okay.
But then I'm going to work with her so that she knows how to handle the pledge file.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing I'm going to have to do on Sunday. So I'm going to be really busy.
I
So,
can imagine.
Sure.
because that's kind of complicated to work, to look at. And I know every time Father Paul got his hands on it, he put numbers in the wrong box. And then things
Ooh.
didn't add up
Oh.
because, there's a load of formulas. You overwrite the formula. No, it's not going to work. So,
Yeah.
so there's parts of it that you have to be very, very specific, which is why I don't let him have the file anymore.
I don't blame you. Well, we're grateful that you and Jerry will help us. And the thing
Yes,
is that
fantastic.
we as a committee, if you need help to stuff those envelopes or whatever, stamps on them, whatever we got to do, you got to tell us that. But the committee also has to do a separate thank you letter. That's what the diocesan committee said. And Father Paul's supposed to send a personal note
Thank you.
to
Personal.
each person to thank them.
Father.
We don't need to know the dollar amount, just to thank them
Just to thank them.
for being part of
Yep.
this congregation and participating
come
in
from
Stewardship
Father.
Sunday. Right.
Yeah.
Well, we have 3 letters that are going to go to every parishioner. And then,
From the
and
treasurer's office
one
and
thing that I'm going to put with, or you
Father.
can put, or Jerry, in the next chimes is a reminder that if you have changed your pledge or you want to make a pledge and you haven't, that it's always all right to contact the treasurer's office and
Yeah.
do a new pledge card or revise it or whatever. Because some people, they get paranoid about, oh, I can't do that. And, well, yes, you can. You can change
Yeah.
life changes.
And it has happened. There have been a couple of times where it's happened.
Yeah.
Somebody will call and say, things are tough. I can't deal with this right now.
Right.
I either have to change it dramatically or I'm not going to be able to pledge anything for a while.
Right.
And then we have other people, Phyllis, for example. Phyllis doesn't pledge.
Yeah.
But when Phyllis has money, she sends us a check, and it's usually a hefty, a decent
Yeah.
check. So there's a continuity there. I know I'm never going to get a pledge card from Phyllis.
Right.
That's fine,
okay.
but that's fine.
Yeah.
Because I can pretty much guess what we're going to wind up with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds great. And then
All right.
we.
The other thing we're talking about is the December 12th.
Thank you, coffee hour.
We just
And-
put suggestions out there. That's what I'm
Right.
saying, Jerry. We just threw in,
And
we knew you were gonna make a coffee cake
that you put in the freezer. That's
I'm going to
fabulous.
make the coffee
Just
cake
suggestions.
tomorrow because I know I'm going to be there on Sunday.
And
Yeah.
you
I'm
don't
going to
have
bring it
wait.
with me. I'll have it on a cake board and it'll
Good.
be wrapped
Good.
and I'll put it in the freezer. And you can
Good.
use
Alright.
it for whenever you want.
No, we'll
you know,
use
all
it
right.
for the 12th.
The
And
12th.
if you can join us, great. If
you
not,
can't,
don't
then
worry
don't worry
about
about
it. And
Yeah,
what-
I'm
gonna-
having some physical effects from the driving and then staying
I
at my
can
friend's
imagine.
house. My
Yeah.
neck has been a mess. Like today was the first day in about 2 weeks that I didn't wake up with a headache.
you need a
um,
chiropractor.
Wow.
I did. Well, I've been going and it wasn't working. And this chiropractor I went to, whose treatment process was a lot different than what I'm accustomed to. And I told her yesterday, I said, this isn't working. I'm going to have to do something else. She said, well, wait a minute. She's going to transition me to another chiropractor in that office. She said, he'll old school you all the way.
Oh,
And
wow.
He happened, because she is very gentle, actuator gun process. I said, no, I need somebody to give my neck a good twist.
Yeah.
And it was weird because the guy that she was referring to me to happened to run into him right at the counter on the way out. He says, you want to do it right now?
Wow.
He didn't have a room available. So they had an open area where they put people on hot packs and stim and whatnot. He says, you mind if we do it there? I'm like, not a bit. And he cracked my neck and I was like, oh, God bless you. Because it moved so much. And it was the first time I could do that.
Oh
without
my
it hurting.
goodness, that's
So
fabulous.
it was tough. So, but it's the drive and then the sleeping in my friend's house. And because it's a minimum 4-hour round trip, usually more like 4.5. So
And I've been-
I have to kind of limit like only twice a month. And so, because otherwise I'm beating myself to death.
Right. Well, on the news too, they've had a lot of
Yes,
accidents and road problems where you go too.
Fortunately, my worst road problem here has been construction.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I have been pretty fortunate in not, I got stuck one Sunday morning going to church. It took me over 3 hours to get there
Oh, my
because something
gosh.
happened on the turnpike.
Oh,
So, but now I know another alternate way to go.
Good for
So
you.
I can get off the turnpike and I could take 295, which I had been discouraged from using, but on the way going there, once I get over the bridge, if I take 295, I have no problem. And it's a beautiful road. So
Yeah.
I've been using that. Plus it saves on tolls.
Oh,
So
sure.
yeah, it saves like 395 or something on the
Wow,
tolls.
that's
Turnpike.
wonderful.
So, and it's just as fast.
Yeah.
And it's
Well-
actually a prettier ride. So yeah, I'm finding alternatives, but it's a killer. That ride is just
Oh,
a killer.
sure.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we want to do this thank you coffee hour for
Yeah,
the
Deb?
December 12th at 8 and 10. And
Is she
whatever
okay helping us at 8
anybody, can-
o'clock?
you know, after the services, whatever anybody can do to provide food or help, and the coffee cake's fabulous.
Yeah.
You know, I will just fill in the gaps, whatever needs to be.
Hey, Deb, are
filled
you
in.
okay to help us at 8 o'clock for the December 12th coffee hour? She good with that?
I lost you. I couldn't hear you.
No,
No,
we're
it's-
talking about a
December
thank
12th
you
coffee hour.
coffee hour on December 12th. We
Yeah.
didn't know if you could help us at 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
whatever you want to bring.
All right.
That would be fabulous.
whatever
Maybe
you wanna
I
bring, Deb.
Like muffins, or some
Yeah.
fruit, that kind of thing.
That would be
Good.
fabulous.
Yeah.
And then, you know, whatever people can't bring, I'll fill
right.
in the gaps so that we make sure. The 8 o'clock has been averaging about maybe 10, 12 people. So
Yeah, at
it
the end
isn't
of the service,
overwhelming,
yeah,
but the
no.
coffee hour after the 10:15 service is another story. That is
Yeah, that one-
growing every week.
growing.
It's at least 20 people.
And that's
those
good.
people-
That's a good news thing.
Really?
And they don't want to go home. So
No.
they're there till
Tough.
1 o'clock, and they
Tough till
like to
1
hang
o'clock,
out, and
1:30.
they become friends. A lot of them live alone. So what they've done, and it's now they meet outside of church
Mhm.
during the week. They go
Yeah.
shopping together, they go to the movies together, they go to different events. A couple of our villages
Pretty
have
cool.
these movie nights, they're back and everything. And
You
So,
you know
you
what,
know.
Steph, that's
Yeah.
another thing to put in that news flash.
absolutely.
You know, come to church, you know, be part of
new
the group for
people.
coffee hour and they go out and
Right.
socialize during the week. That's
Right.
just, it's another one of those things to encourage people
Right.
to re-engage.
Yeah.
I know.
I
Well,
know
what-
there are still a lot of people who are cautious and
Jerry,
concerned.
yes.
And I just realized now I'm going to be driving up there on Sunday. And I probably shouldn't because I just had my flu shot and I feel like somebody really punched me in the arm. But
dear.
I'm coming. I am going to come because I'm not feeling any bad side effects of the shot, but you don't know,
Yeah,
you know.
Right.
So, and I'm going to wait another 2 weeks before I get my booster shot. So,
My God.
you know, a
new
lot of people
people-
are cautious.
oh, they are.
It's
The
true.
new people are fabulous because thank God for them. Thank God for Debbie and Dave too.
Yeah.
I could not have
fantastic.
pulled off that fair this year without the new people. They came day after day after day. Whenever they could, they came for an hour, 2 hours. I didn't have my old helpers from the past, and they
Yeah.
were new.
Yeah.
They had no idea
Yeah.
what they got themselves into, but they were very flexible, said, what do
Yep.
you need? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to do? And we pulled it off. And so many
Yeah.
people came to that fair and said, thank you. And some of them wore
Mhm.
masks. Some of the helpers said, you know, I said, whatever you're comfortable with. If you want to wear a mask, fine. If you don't, that's fine. It's up to you. I explained, like the garden club, I told them that
Yeah.
most of us are vaccinated and that the church is bioblasted every single day. So they all felt much better about that one. So,
Yeah.
you know, that it was, you know, we just need to keep listening to people and assuring them, you know, I think as time goes along, more people will start coming back. It's sad though that some of our longtime parishioners who are in middle health, they're not great, they're not sick,
No.
but they're not going to come back. I don't know. They've got other issues. I don't know what they are. I'm trying to find out what they are from some people, and some
Mhm.
I think are being a little bit maybe minuscule and petty, because they're not looking at the big picture. Maybe somebody said something or didn't say something to them, they're offended. So that's why they're not coming back, which is ridiculous. How many times in life have people said dumb things to us that, you just got to let it float off your back and move on?
Like, get over it and move on.
Get
Yeah,
over it.
some people, they don't think before they open their mouth, and they're rude and they're nasty, and but you kind of know who they are after a while, and you just ignore that nonsense. I think Debbie wanted to say something.
Yeah, Deb wants to say.
Go ahead, Debbie.
People wanting to get
Yep.
out. I just went back to my book club at the library over here.
Yeah.
There must have been 25 women that showed up. It was
Yeah.
like, you just wanted to get out.
Right. We have a book club. at
Everybody
my
was
village.
there.
Yeah.
That's great. I think
That's
that's great.
wonderful.
It's encouraging to hear it.
Yes.
It's really
That's
encouraging to hear that.
We didn't sit in
Yeah.
the conference room that we usually have, but we sat in the library with around a table.
Right. Right.
But it was like everybody was there and everybody read the book.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, in my village, they just had the book club come back, and it varies because sometimes the date doesn't work for everybody. And the first book they got was a dud, so everybody was
It's
glad
so
to get rid of
cute.
that book.
It's like the best book I ever read because I'm in the sleuth club. I love mystery, so we always read
I do
mystery.
too.
So
Which one?
this one was kind of mediocre. A lot of women just hated it. I mean, I got
Oh.
through it, but you just wanted to get out again.
Yeah.
I haven't had the book club since the pandemic. It's been that
Right.
long.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh,
8
sure.
Wow.
years.
Yeah,
That's
Well,
great.
that's great news. So are there any other
Any other
things you
ideas
can
or
think
suggestions?
of,
Otherwise,
or
we
any
covered
other
everything.
suggestions?
I had another thought,
Go ahead.
and
Yeah.
it could be appropriate for the chapel chimes or for this newsflash. It may be only a line. Say, well, if you can't get to church, do you need a phone call?
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
That's a good
saying,
idea.
is there anything, can we call you just to have a conversation? Because you have some people that are shut in, and
Yep.
and it's hard for them to get out. But and I know that we have a couple of people. They got somebody, I think she lives in Pennsylvania, and we get a check from her every
Oh,
month.
yes, I know who you
Oh,
mean.
it's nice.
So, and she lives in Pennsylvania. So
Yeah.
I think that we need to get a schedule of calls,
Yeah.
for people that are shut in, that we
Right.
know can't make it to church.
Right.
And just to somebody to say, hey, how you doing?
Right.
What's going on?
Oh, yeah. During the COVID, I
Couldn't
tried
do
to
that,
do
jeez.
that, and I tried to send cards to people that we don't see a lot. And some people did respond, Debbie, you wanted to say
Yeah.
something else?
Couldn't hear.
Just real quick before we leave, this coming Sunday, I'll be giving my little
Yes.
speech.
Yeah, you're
There was-
speaking Sunday.
Good.
Yeah.
We're looking
The
forward
speech is
to
almost
great.
that.
together. It's in 2 little parts. I just have to put it together.
Oh,
That's
that's
great, yeah.
fabulous.
All right,
We
well,
appreciate it.
I expect to be there on Sunday. So
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll be giving my
just
little-
FYI, I tried to get on last Sunday and I had no audio on Zoom.
Oh, that's interesting.
Wow.
Was
So I
that
had,
at 10
I
o'clock?
dropped off. I even shut my computer down and got back on again, and I still had no audio.
That was at
Wow.
10 o'clock?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
for a while, every once in a while, I say to Father Paul, you don't have your mic on. And then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
I mean, I know people probably find
Oblivious.
it annoying because I'm yelling it from the back of the church. But the thing is, I can see the people on and that there's nothing, they're not hearing. He did that at 10 o'clock. The beginning of the service had no audio from him.
Yeah.
I had it, but he didn't. I don't know what he did. He wasn't on. And then
Okay.
when Tom, the minister that did the
Father
sermon,
Tom
he
Berloy.
didn't have a microphone.
No.
And it didn't pick up on the computer
No.
because it wasn't close enough to him, the other computer.
All right. It was just an FYI that
Sorry about
occasionally
that.
you do
Yeah,
have
great.
some audio
Thanks, Deb.
issues.
Appreciate that. Well, Father Paul got a new gadget that attaches to that computer that's up by him. That made a world of difference because
Yeah.
we could get the sound much better. But it helps if he puts his microphone on and turns it on,
Yeah.
I mean,
So if I'm on Zoom,
Yes.
is
Yeah.
there a way for me to to get a message to show on his screen that says,
chat.
hey, that's
Yeah.
On the chat, you
Yeah,
send
on the
it's
chat,
down
but
below.
he'll see it? Will he see it?
Yeah.
Say,
No,
hey,
I
turn
see
the-
it.
turn the audio
I
You'll
on.
see
see it. Yeah,
Okay.
he doesn't see it. In the back of the
Okay.
church, I see it. Sometimes people have unmuted themselves and they're going like this, or they're yelling and everything, and he sees their mouth moving. But I do most of the technology. Sometimes it's Bill, sometimes it's Susan, and
Yeah.
Estelle, Gloria Rose's mom, is going to help me a little bit. So one of us notices that a message comes up. I usually notice with the facial reactions of people, and of course I'm sitting and I'm listening and I'm noticing I can't hear Father Paul, and I'm thinking, well, if I can't hear him, then you can't hear him either. You know,
Okay.
say, Father
All right.
Paul, you're muted, and he's like, oh, okay, you know.
Okay.
I
Well,
appreciate
you.
knowing. Thank
All
you.
right.
this
Thanks.
is good.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you for
fabulous.
the
Thank you so
suggestions.
much for your
Deb,
time
thank
and
you.
all your
All right.
ideas and
Thank
your
you. And
support.
again, Stephanie, I really enjoy that women's Bible study. I love it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Can't be
agree.
Monday, I'll be in Virginia.
Yeah, oh,
Okay.
wow. Yeah, because I have my thyroid support groups. I'll be in the church, but I'll miss it.
Yeah.
I talked to Roberta the other day and I told her, you know, how much it was appreciated and that, you know,
Oh, sure.
hopefully we can go forward and share as we're able. Maybe other people will come from time to time too.
Yeah. it was nice.
It's wonderful. It's a little different, Jerry Ann. What we did was each woman
thank you,
will
Deb.
take a week and they pick out their favorite Bible passage and they share it.
Mhm.
And then we each talked about our experiences with God and our relationship and how we felt, you know, and a lot of different things came out. A lot of us discovered we were in the same place. We just didn't know we were, kind of a thing, you know, and
Yeah.
it just was so supportive. There were only 6 of us, but it was different. Father Paul does plan to do.
And
Yeah,
how it's
much
relevant
better.
to life today.
Yeah.
So it was very
Yeah,
good.
thank you both for coming on.
Have a
Okay, we'll see
wonderful
you.
day. God bless you both.
Yeah, thank you both for coming on. Deb, we'll see you Sunday in
Yeah. See you Sunday.
Stewardship.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Jerry Ann.
Take
All right.
care.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.